Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Political Theater, everybody. Thank you guys for joining me this evening, no matter where you may be at. If you guys are on YouTube, Substack, Rumble, wherever you guys are tuning in this evening, thank you guys for being here with us here on Friday. We got a lot to talk about. We weren't on last time because we had a bunch of stuff we were getting finished. The new website, I'm actually going to be working on a new update to that's going to be coming out here very shortly. So, guys, keep an eye out for that. I'm going to add about 100,000 new locations to that thing here over the next couple days. So make sure you guys check that out. If you guys are tuning in on Substack or Rumble or any of the other locations, make sure you guys give us a follow there. We're trying to grow some of the other channels on here. And I'm also, there's another announcement. I'm going to be having a congressman on here soon to talk about the redistricting in Virginia. So that's going to be coming out here soon as well. So keep an eye out for that. And we've got a ton to talk about because the Iran war is obviously continuing on. Looks like there's nothing left of the Iranian anything anymore. And Trump continues to, just absolutely talk shit, which is just, I love Trump. Everything about the way that he's been treating this scenario has been hysterical to me. Every time they ask him a question, he's like, well, they keep dying. I don't know. I mean, more of them are dead today. It looks like we killed even more than we did last time. So it's very funny. I'm enjoying watching Trump just absolutely berate people, even though, it doesn't seem like many things have really changed over the past couple days. And there's the other part about this I think is really important and it's worth talking about is that there is a huge difference this time between our military and the previous military actions in Iraq and Afghanistan and anywhere else. It's kind of amazing the difference, to be honest with you, because before, what was it during the Iraq War? During the Iraq War, there was a journalist on every plane. There's a journalist on every single event. Oh, look, 3 of our guys just got shot over there. Yeah, well, that's not happening this time. And that's actually why you're seeing the reaction from the media. The media is really interesting right now because they've got absolutely nothing. They have nothing. They have no idea what to talk about. They don't know how to go about it. They don't have any information. No leaks are coming out. Nobody in the Department of War is telling them anything. They're only going off of, their last argument earlier this week was we're running out of missiles, and then we're running out of this, and then oh my God, they destroyed some radar dish. Oh my goodness, it's very, very, very limited information is coming out. And that is a huge difference between pretty much any other time that we've ever done this. Any other time that we've ever had any war over the Middle East, it has been a completely different scenario this time. There is no leaks coming out of this administration, not for what's going on the war effort. We have no idea what the current status is. So essentially, anything that the Department of War tells us, that's what you get. And thank God, finally, we actually have some OPSEC for what we're actually doing overseas. It's kind of amazing to me that everyone just assumed that that's what you're supposed to get, but the media is really unhappy about it. Their newest thing today, which I just can't believe that they're even doing this, but it's typical of them. The media today, their newest line is that Trump forgot to fill the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. As if it was just something that, oh man, I really was supposed to do something, you sometimes you forget when you're supposed to have, you miss your doctor's appointment or you missed a dentist appointment. It's very similar to that. Trump just forgot. Oh my goodness, how did he forget that? Let alone the fact that just trying to undo the damage that Joe Biden did to the Strategic Petroleum Reserves would take between 6 and 8 years. Now, it's not even that big of a deal, to be honest with you, because our production of oil is so much higher. But it's very amazing to watch all of these hacks in the legacy media come out swinging, claiming that Trump is, oh my God, he's forgotten something. How could he have missed that? What a disaster. I mean, it's complete nonsense. The petroleum reserves are at 400 and something million barrels now. To be able to refill them back up to where they were before, though, 3 million barrels, I think they're putting in 3 million barrels a month or something like that. It's going to take forever. I mean, it's not like it's something like a gas station where you just fill it back up. I mean, these things are huge caverns, and there's 180 million barrels that Joe Biden pulled out of it, all because he wanted to win the midterms that year in 2022, and that didn't even work out for him. So he managed to drain our strategic petroleum reserves for quite literally nothing. So he did it for nothing. He lost the midterms anyway, and he managed to put us in a scenario where if we needed them, my goodness, well, we wouldn't really have the amount that we had. He wiped out half of it, essentially. He took out half of our strategic petroleum reserves before. So watching Joe Biden or watching the legacy media hacks trying to pretend as if this is something that's happening is kind of amazing to me. I don't even know what to really say about it other than the fact that I can't listen to them lie and hack about everything every single day but that's all they've got right now. That's why they're doing it. What is their argument before? And I had a long argument with somebody the other day talking about the logistics of the missiles and everything else like that. I said, I don't think you have any clue how many missiles or how many munitions the United States military has. And I don't think anybody is even allowed to know that. And after a while of arguing and having this discussion with somebody, they essentially admitted to me, they were like, yeah, well, we're not going to run out. I was like, okay, well, so we're not going to run out. We're not going to actually have a problem. We still have the ability to continue the war, continue to be able to shoot and kill people if we need to. So what exactly was the basis of the argument? The basis was the military had really bad logistics. That's essentially the baseline of the argument. That's when you get down to the bottom of it. That's what they're talking about. They're saying that, oh my goodness, we didn't have good enough logistics. Like, really? You think that we moved that much of our naval force? I mean, by the way, there's a third aircraft carrier on its way over there, which is very entertaining. I mean, I'm not even sure what that means. But by the way, if there's two aircraft carriers, that's usually when you can tell when we're actually about to destroy a whole bunch of stuff, because two aircraft carriers, the way that they work, they set them on either side of the continent, and then they fly jets from one to the other so they don't have to turn around to shoot fuel back. So that's part of the reason that's there. But now with three, I mean, what happens when there's three of them? That's kind of interesting. So I don't know what's going to happen over the next couple of days. There's talk now of whether or not we're actually going to see troop deployments. I don't know. I know that Trump has been very careful about what he has said about any of this, and he's made sure that he's never left anything off the table. So it could just be posturing, or we could see troop deployments. I have no idea. No one knows, really. So we'll find out over the next couple of days whether or not we're going to see a troop deployment, whether or not we're actually going to see ground forces. I know that there was a story earlier of some Israeli paratroopers being captured in Lebanon or something like that. I have already assumed that the entire time that this has been happening, that there's been special forces operating anyway. So I'm not. I don't think that it's like there's actually not any boots on the ground. I would not be surprised if there's somebody over there already, especially from our side. This is not going to be surprising to me. But we'll find out shortly. I mean, this is all stuff that'll come out over the next, I don't know, over the next week or two. We'll find out. And how long the war is going to last. I actually have a new thing that I was talking about. This is referencing the Strait of Hormuz being closed. The Strait of Hormuz being closed is kind of interesting for a couple of reasons. If it is indeed closed, I did some numbers and ran some numbers and found out that the Chinese get 45% of their oil from the Strait of Hormuz. 45%. And at their current burn rate, if they close the strait and it is completely closed, they say nothing goes through it, 90 days is how long it would take before they are essentially running on empty. Now, that's really interesting because that almost directly coincides with the exact amount of time that the president would have for the War Powers Act. Before he actually has to ask for more money from Congress or ask for more a longer extension from Congress. And that's pretty interesting that it actually lines up exactly with that. Looks like there's someone saying I'm going to have a camera issue. It looks, guys, I think that's just lag. It looks like it's fine on my side here. But anyway, so we can keep going here. But the deal is, I think that this may be a bit longer than people are playing it out to be. I don't know. But at the same time, watching all of the different things that's happening right now across the country and across the, they're talking about lifting restrictions on Russian oil. Now they're talking about continuing to, there's going to be the new insurance for how they're going to insure all of the shipping across the world. If the United States gets involved in international shipping insurance, that's going to be huge because Lloyd's of London has controlled that forever. Lloyd's of London has controlled that forever. And if we actually manage to take a hold of that and actually get some of that, I don't know. That's a major, major change, guys. That's a huge change. Unbelievable change, actually. So that's worth thinking about and worth talking about. But there's a lot more other news to get into. We also didn't even have a chance to talk about the fact that Kristi Noem has left the administration and that Mullen is apparently going to be replacing her, which I found very strange. There's also now a senator that's the Oklahoma, or no, not Oklahoma. This is Utah. Utah Senator Raines decided that he is not running for re-election, which is very interesting. Looks like he dropped out in the last couple minutes. So we've got a lot of news to get through, guys, and I appreciate everyone who comes to the show this evening. Guys, before we do anything else, make sure you guys share the space out, share the link out, make sure people know that we are indeed live. And we're going to go ahead and get going here. If you guys want to come up and join the show, if you're on YouTube, Rumble, Substack, no matter where you guys may be, if you want to actually chime in, join the show, be able to talk, you got to go to x.com, go to @WCDispatch, and you can join the show and chime in yourself. I can also read the comments and every other thing, all the other streams. So if you guys wanted to comment there, I can see those and read those out on the show as well. But I got people requesting to come up on the show now, so I'm going to go ahead and start bringing people up. Let's see here. I actually do want to talk to Thomas here. I haven't had a minute to talk to Thomas in a while. So, Thomas Speciale, how are you, my friend?
I'm very good. I'm very good.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. I mean, this has been interesting to watch, isn't it? This is probably the most successful military operation I've seen any administration do in quite some time. So this is pretty interesting to watch.
I've done a number of news hits on this recently. As you know, Walt, my background, I worked on this exact war plan from about 2010 to about 2016. So it's long before Trump was ever even in office. That we talked about it at the Defense Intelligence Agency as the Iranian castration war plan, because a ground war in Iran is extremely undesirable. And the only way to actually deal with the regime would be to essentially castrate them, destroy all of their power projection capability, all their missiles, all their drones, their nuclear capability, the IRGC, in particular the IRGC-QF. Um, and ultimately, in the amount of time that has transpired since then, we're people don't understand, I don't think, the geopolitical ramifications of removing this bloodthirsty regime from the world. They really aren't understanding that all of the chaos throughout the Middle East, all of the chaos was was essentially implemented by the Iranian regime. So now what you're going to have is Lebanese Hezbollah will not have a partner. The Houthis won't have a partner. Palestinian Islam won't have a partner. The Palestinian Islamic Jihad. The Hamas won't have a partner. And so now the regional countries will be able to deal with their internal problems without the threat of being attacked by Iran. This is huge. In addition to the fact, there are about three things that I think are really super important about this. Um, by destroying the Iranian regime, you've done away with the drone problem going to Russia to help against the Ukrainians. Um, and at the same time, here's the big ones, I think. Between Venezuela and now the U.S. pretty much in absolute control of the Straits of Hormuz, what you've done is you've choked off Chinese oil, which is the source of their economic power. They have no oil resources of their own. And so now what you have essentially is, people, they laugh about, Trump playing, three-dimensional chess or whatever. But the reality is this is checkmate against China, because between the loss of Venezuela and the loss of Iran, the regime in Iran, you now have put China in a situation where they absolutely cannot afford a geopolitical conflict, because they were getting like 90% of their oil between Venezuela and Iran. And, it just really castrates the this global threat system that has terrorized the world for 47 years. And I think the credit has to go to Donald Trump, because Donald Trump basically said, you know, we've put up with these assholes for 47 years. Pardon my French. We've put up with these guys for 47 years. They will not moderate. We've done everything from trying to buy them off.
Hey Thomas, what is those slaps in the background? I
It's
have to
I'm
know.
I'm I'm sitting by the fire and,
Yeah, it
on
sounds
my
like
back porch.
firewood to me. Go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah. But the bottom line is I think that people aren't really understanding the global geopolitical impact of removing this rogue, bloodthirsty, radical regime from the planet. And I think that people are missing that this is not about a like an external imposed regime in Iran. What this is a an annihilation of the mullahs and the internal. I have I don't like the term terrorism. I just don't, because I think that it's what's happening, but it's not really what it is. I've talked about terrorism tactics, terrorism strategy, and then terrorism policy. And the Iranians have had a terrorism strategy to terrorize the entire Middle East and all of Europe, and to a great extent the world. But within their own country, they had a terrorism policy, which was to terrorize their own people into complacency. And so, with the regime removed, the Iranian people have a chance to modernize and join the Western world. And I think that this is going to have a everybody's like looking at this like it's only 6 days long and we've used all these resources. But the reality is, these people are responsible for the deaths of thousands of American citizens, tens of thousands of Iraqis, tens of thousands of Afghans. They've threatened all of the region for decades. And they were in the last several months, they've killed 40,000 of their own citizens to hold on to power.
Well, I mean, the
Those
big
days
thing,
are over.
those days are over. But the bigger part about it to me that's important, and this is why I've been talking about China a lot, is because to me, the biggest part is we've been going after China in unique ways for a while now. There was a really interesting article that was put out by a Chinese newspaper essentially that came out a couple days ago. But there was a really interesting newspaper that went out, and that there was a quote from an analyst that essentially said that China was, for years China's been talking about America's decline, America's decline, America's decline. But then the past few weeks, the reaction has changed. The reaction is now saying, oh, well, maybe it's not anything to do with America declining. It's actually directly to do with whether or not America wants to deploy the power that it has. Which is 100% true. That's always been the case. I mean, the reality is America has the ability to wage war better than anywhere else in the world, but it depends on whether or not we have the political will to do so. It turns out that Trump has decided that, no, we do have the political will, and I'm going to get it done. So listening to people complain and scream and act as if this is the end of the world because we've decided to move forward with this, I don't see it like that at all. I don't see it like that at all. I don't believe that. To me, I think that Trump has decided he's going to take aggressive action now, get it out of the way, and be done with it. And that's, Trump has made it very clear that he's not playing around on the world stage. If you don't believe him, how many dictators do you think are out here that are going to come here and say, oh yeah, Trump didn't mean what he said anymore? I don't think that's the case. Not anymore. Not anymore at all. So I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I think that there's now a whole new world out here where if you say something where, what was it that Maduro was saying, come get me, I'm here. Well, we got your ass. We got you. The mullahs have been sitting here saying that, what are we going to do? Death to America. Well, now you're all dead. All of it. We're running out of Ayatollahs. We've only got like a few left. There's like 4. And each one of them is probably going to be dead by the end of the week. And one of them is a Mossad agent. I mean, it's pretty interesting to watch. So I don't think that it's as big of a problem as people are making it out to be. If there's some sort of major, there's a bunch of people that are trying to claim that we've lost way more people than we have. There's no evidence of that. There's none. There's zero evidence of that. There's zero evidence that we've lost 1 million people or 1,000 people or 800 people. The only people that are saying that we have lost that many people are the Iranians. And sorry, guys, I'm not really sure how they'd even get that information. I mean, even if you believe it, how did they get it? Like, they don't have a clue what's happening outside of it. Their internet's off. They got no power. The entire place is being bombed. We got B-52s flying over top of it, flattening the cities. I mean, how exactly would they even know that they hit somebody in the first place? They don't have a clue. They've got no way to find that information out. So anybody who's claiming that they know exactly casualty details, that's just not true.
That messaging is not for us. The messaging that the Iranians are putting out is for their own people, to try and convince the Iranian people and what's left of the Iranian IRGC that they're still in the fight. My hope is, and I just had a meeting yesterday with a number, I call them my brain trust, a number of retired and active senior military folks and intel folks. And, the reality is the Iranian regime, 80% of the Iranian people want the regime gone. But the only way that the regime is going to actually be overturned is if the Iranian people, and I would argue the Artesh, the Iranian army, most people don't know the difference between the IRGC and the Iranian army. They do not like each other. They are the army are not the zealots. The IRGC are zealots in support of the supreme leader. And the hope is, and I believe that the administration knows this very well, the hope is that the Artesh, the military commanders, will seize control of the country after uh, a complete surrender. The Iranian military will seize control of the country temporarily, very similarly to how they dealt with it in Egypt with Mubarak, and they will establish a temporary government and give the Iranian people a chance to form a new government. And I think people, Trump's like, I would like to have a say in who is the next leader, but the reality is Trump probably knows he's not going to accept anybody that's a radical. Anybody that's a radical, and we know who all of them are. I spent years studying the entire Ayatollah structure, the entire IRGC leadership structure. We know who the real radicals are and who the moderates are. And so they're not going to accept somebody to rise to leadership in Iran who isn't somebody who's going to moderate with the GCC and advocate for no longer being a threat to their neighbors. Because the bottom line is, all of the chaos, all of it, has stemmed from the Iranian regime facilitating all these radicals all over the world for decades. And most people don't know that the ISIS families, the families of the ISIS leadership, were all in Iran being protected by Iran. So they were even facilitating the Sunni radical terrorism that was going on by protecting the ISIS families. So this is, in my opinion, this is a checkmate of the chaos initiative, the radical Islamic initiative that was going on in the Middle East. And I believe to a great extent it's going to hamstring China. People don't understand what it means when for decades the Iranians have been giving oil to the Chinese at a discounted rate.
Well, and this
Maybe
the discounted barrel thing is what I was talking about a while ago.
that's
The
crazy.
the discounted barrel thing is really important, actually. The discounted barrels, that's actually 20% of China's oil supply is from discounted barrels. So even if we don't cut them off completely, and this is another part, Thomas, I'm sure you saw this. You saw that the LNG tanker, the Russian LNG tanker, just exploded off the coast of the Mediterranean not like a couple days ago. That was a very interesting story that not many people talked about. But that was a really important story because that tells you, I mean, it just, who hit that? Do you think the Ukrainians hit something in the Mediterranean? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I think that's a pretty clear message to anything part of the Shadow Fleet that the days of skirting underneath all of sanctions are coming to a close. And I think that's probably what's happening. But the bigger part about it, all of this to me, is that the Chinese are in a scenario where they don't have energy independence, no matter what they say. I mean, if China runs out of oil, guys, if China runs out of oil, if this goes on for 90 days and the Chinese are to the point where their oil reserves are completely toast, that is a huge deal. That is a huge deal. That would decimate their economy. There's no way they can get out of it either because 45% of their oil comes through the Strait of Hormuz. Now, there's a couple people saying, well, what if the Iranians just let them through? With the guys, the Iranians aren't the ones stopping them from going through, okay? There's a couple attacks that have happened on ships that have tried to go through there, but the real reason that no one's going through there is because the insurance carriers have all dropped off. That's the real reason that it all stopped. And Lloyd's of London shut down the market. They're not going to cover it anymore. They're worried that they're going to lose money. So who's going to step in? The United States is going to step in now. And now that we've got a new insurance market that they're going to start doing on it, they just announced the details of that earlier today. I was actually wondering how they were going to do it because it was going to be an interesting move no matter how they did that. But it looks to me like now there's going to be a new insurance market and Trump's going to actually have the United States controlling shipping insurance. And with shipping insurance, what do you think we're going to give great rates to the Chinese? I don't know about that, and I don't think any shadow fleet's going to go through there. So, this is a huge change. It's a big change. So there's a lot of stuff happening, but to me, Iran is just another piece in the puzzle in the slow pressure campaign against China. That's the real deal. And everyone talks about who our greatest enemy really is, guys. There's no questions, okay? There's simply no questions. Russia is not as great a threat to us as people make them out to be. They're just not. Okay, Russia has the GDP the size of Florida. Okay, that's the equivalent of Florida is Russia. Okay, China has a $17 trillion economy. Okay, that is our geopolitical rival in the world. That is just reality. And if we're actually going to start going after this and coming up with different ways to attack it, that I think is the entire point of all of this. The Venezuelans were we would sell in discounted barrels to China. The Iranians were selling discounted barrels to China. The United States is the largest energy and oil producer in the world, bar none now. I mean, that's the other part about all this is that everyone forgets that we are well over the rest of the world in oil production now. The Permian Basin and fracking changed the world when it comes to that stuff. Okay, I'm gonna go around and get some hands here. Jacktron, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, so there's also another angle to this that I don't think anyone is talking about, which is the AI aspect of this. I saw Peter Schweizer was talking about this on Jesse Waters last night, and he made an interesting point. So he says that the two biggest the two biggest AI contractors in China are Huawei and ZTE, which are telecom communication companies. They're vital to China's AI capabilities, and they both have huge contracts in Venezuela and Iran for which they are now not going to get paid. And we are just to give you an idea of how big this is, we're talking tens of billions of dollars in contract revenue. They were expecting to get that now they're not getting, and they were doing a lot of AI testing in these countries. So the ramifications are enormous, and Donald Trump has really shifted the equation with China within a matter of less than 2 months.
Well, I mean, this is kind
But
of the point that I've been making, right? I mean, the deal is that Trump is not. Everyone who thinks that this has anything to do with, oh, it's just because we don't like Iran or because Israel doesn't like Iran, you're just not paying attention, okay? You're being very single minded. That is just not the case, okay? There are other things going on that may actually relate to the things that we've been doing, okay? You think Maduro was just an accident, like, oh, yeah, we just didn't like the Venezuelans, we got tired of them, come on, guys. That's just not
well, I think
the
part of
full
the
equation.
I think a lot of the reason for that is now because they get their news from people like Nick Fuentes, Candace, Megyn Kelly. These are people who are not telling you the full truth. They are now as much fake news as CNN is. Actually, maybe more so now that CNN is about to be acquired by Larry Ellison. Also, do we want to all mention what Candy said today?
Listen, Timu Oprah, it just needs to shut up. I mean, I've talked about Timu Oprah a lot. I don't think anything she says is serious or interesting. I did see a very funny comment from somebody earlier that said, it's like, these edibles aren't anything at 1 p.m. and then at 6 p.m. it was just quoting Candace. So, it's just this is the kind of comments that she says. I don't have any time for it, to be honest with you. I don't pay any attention. The only time that anything Candace says breaks through the algorithm that I read, it's when it's either the most profoundly retarded thing you've ever read, or the most profoundly like insulting thing you've ever read. That's the only time. It's the only two times the thing that I actually read what she says, because that's pretty much it. She has nothing else interesting to say, so she has to come up with the dumbest possible or the most insulting possible thing that she can say to get people to pay attention to her. And that's what a sad and pathetic existence if that's your entire career is now how dumb or annoying can I be to get people to pay attention to me. That's about all I have for Candy. I mean, it's just too much for me. I got to get around the room here though.
Well,
Yes,
well,
Thomas,
I,
what's up?
I, I saw the thing as well. It slipped into my algorithm somehow. And what I commented on it, and I basically said, if people would stop paying attention to her, she'd be gone in like 30
Yeah, but
days.
did see, listen,
She
you're never
doesn't say
the problem
anything
is the problem with
anyhow.
that, Thomas, is you're never going to convince people to not pay attention to stupid people, no matter what you do. I have tried this argument with a lot of people. There's friends of mine that are smart people, really smart people, but they will title their whole show "Tucker Carlson sucks." Like, oh, great, well that's helpful. I mean, now everybody sees Tucker Carlson's name all day. I mean, it's amazing. You can't convince these people, though. I mean, I've tried a million different ways. If you just stop talking about them, that's the only way that these people deflate. I mean, if you constantly clip their stuff and take their stuff and talk about their stuff, then of course people are going to talk about it. It's not that complicated. But I gave up on that war, Thomas. I tried. I tried for 4 or 5 months trying to convince people to stop doing this, but it's not helpful. You can't do anything about it. All right, I got to get around the room here, though. Annan, what's up, buddy?
Oh man, dude, it's so good to hear from you. And I start tracking it. I have ADHD, so I guess what I'm going to say is this: is that um, following from what I've seen is that yes, guys, I understand that people do not like these strikes. They don't like that. But these strikes are actually important. And it's because it does actually what Thomas was saying. It affects China so much. And not only that is that it's going to save American lives in the long run. The the Iran's this is a whole different environment right here. If we take care of them, we save thousands of American lives in the long run. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of the point that the deal is you can have your own opinion on it. You can say, well, I don't like this. I don't like this, but you got to have a real reason for it. And the other side of it is listening to everybody try and think that Trump is going to be just like Bush or just like Obama or just like whoever. Have you not figured it out yet? I mean, is it really, have you not learned after 10 years of watching this dude work? Have you not figured it out that he may have a plan and it might be something that you don't understand? But of course, the legacy media doesn't have any idea of that they can't figure it out. To them, Trump is an idiot. He's a buffoon. He won the presidency by accident twice. I mean, that's normal. And he's been a billionaire since the 1980s by fraud or by corrupt casinos or something. I mean, these people are ridiculous. They have no idea what they're talking about. Okay, let's keep moving here. Angel of Death, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's
Can you hear
happening?
me all right?
What's happening?
Yes, no?
I didn't
Okay,
hear
can
what you
you? I
said.
don't know if you can hear me.
What?
Yeah. So I mean, I think Maduro was actually probably, in my humble opinion, he may have sung a little bit for us, in telling us how Iran and China are doing their operations and all that. I mean, I think there's a reason they took Maduro in. Then the whole Iran thing happened. Then I mean, we're having a proxy fight. I think, in my humble opinion, with China, and it's Iran versus Israel or whatever, or all the other states there, the Gulf states. And I think that he kind of like gave us information in order for him to get back or something, and then we will be buying oil that was supposed to be going
Well, there
to.
was, to your point, there was a story, and I don't know how credible it was, and I didn't really care, so I didn't really try and follow up on it a whole lot. But there was a story that came out that Maduro was actually being guarded by Chinese and the Cubans. So, I don't know. There was the rumor essentially was something along the line that Maduro was actually an informant for the United States, and they had to go get him out of there, and he was actually being held captive. Now, I'm not sure I believe that simply because he's saying John Legend Imagine, and I assume that anybody who sings that is a communist. So I don't know if I buy it, but it's possible. I mean, it's
You
possible that
say
that's
John
what's going on.
Legend?
Yeah. John
Lennon.
Lennon is what I meant.
Hey, Walt,
Yeah.
Just one.
we have been watching the Chinese, the Iranians, and the Russians develop their intelligence apparatus in Venezuela since the rise of Maduro. Really, before that, we've been watching it for years. Um, whether or not he was like working with the U.S. or not is irrelevant, I think. But the simple fact that we were able to go into a sovereign country, roll up a guy in a couple of hours, and have him back stateside for prosecution. Um, you know, the bottom line is that the Venezuela operation was the first step in eliminating or reducing Chinese influence and Russian influence and Iranian influence in the West, um, to basically castrate the Iranians. I think we're going to see the Cubans are likely to
Yeah,
come to the
I think the
table.
Cubans are next. I think the
I
Cubans
Right.
are
think the
The
next.
Cubans
Cubans
are
are
going to
Yeah,
come to
next.
the table.
hold on.
They're going
We
to
gotta
have to.
we got to keep moving around the room here. Andrew, you were trying to finish. Go ahead and finish.
Yeah, I was going to say that I think basically the Chinese were there because they were drilling. They were bringing the drilling supplies, and the oil was not that great and whatever, but they were still shipping it over there. But I want to say, how weird is it for the Iranians now? Like, if they have internet, I don't even know if they have internet now. Do they?
I don't think so. I don't think they have
No,
anything.
we've
That's just
snuck in a
like
bunch of Starlinks actually. Like,
okay, so they're
Well,
on
but I mean
Starlink right
that's a different
now.
scenario. I mean, if it depends on how
Um,
many people have actually had access to it. I haven't actually seen results of Starlinks being active, so I don't know if that's true or not. Go ahead.
Imagine how trashy it is being like, oh my god, I'm so happy I have the internet now, I'm free, and then you have Great Britain like, oh my god, you can't say that. That's a bad meme. You're going to jail. Like the irony of what's happening in the world right now is just what the hell.
Well,
And I think,
here's
by the way,
I will say something on this. Over the past few days, the number one amount of accounts, like from where they were at, saying ridiculously stupid things in support of Iran have all been from the UK. Now, I don't understand how your country went from being, a global empire to being castrated, useless weasels, but I don't care. We got rid of you guys a long time ago, and it turns out that you guys are really in the decline now. And if we take your global shipping from you, global shipping insurance, I mean, who needs London anymore? I mean, you guys got like you have like a small flotilla of ships, and you used to be a global empire. So I'm not really too concerned about that. All right, need to keep moving around the
hey,
room here. No, hold
Walter,
on,
real
dude. I got to
quick.
move around the room here. All right,
Yes,
Sunlight,
sir.
go
Yes,
ahead.
sir.
Yeah, hey, Walt, good to hear you, man. And you know, there was a guy named Don Henley in the mid '80s that wrote a song called "Dirty Laundry," and that's what I see all these influencers basically doing. It's like the shock jocks of spaces and of the X platform. So that's all they're up to, from my point of view. And I just wanted to point out that the primary purpose of the United States Navy, all six fleets, is to provide a service to the globe called the Global Maritime Guarantor of Trade. 90% of the world's trade traverses the seven seas, and we have three of our fleets are based overseas, by the way, three on the mainland and three overseas. One of those, the fifth fleet, is based right across the Gulf from Iran and Bahrain, in Manama, Bahrain, and the sole purpose is to ensure the smooth flow of oil and gas through the Straits of Hormuz, through the Red Sea, through the Suez Canal, and into the Arabian Ocean and the Indian Ocean, right? And we have one in Japan that does the same thing, and frequently will challenge the Chinese to keep the sea lanes open around Taiwan. We have another one that's based in Naples, Italy, of all places, but that one is, of course, for the Mediterranean and the Black Sea. So the intent of our Navy is to do that, and I was like, I keep hearing this. Why are we there? What is the cost? And this, that, and the other. So I went and did the research. I put it down in the purple pill vault. I think you'll find it interesting. It's a high level surface view, but I was actually able to find some outlays. What are the benefits to the United States on a macro level, and then what are the microeconomic benefits to us? How much does it cost, and what's the return on investment? So I structured it that as such, in a thread, explaining out, the various components. And the benefits are enormous to the United States. And so he who controls the sea lanes. If we were to abdicate that responsibility, Walt, can you imagine what the oil embargo like in '73 would look like if the Chinese or the Russians wanted to turn on and off the spigot, every other quarter to pressure the
Well,
West
in
into,
terms of
some action?
cost benefit analysis, Sunlight. I mean, the reality is that the amount of money we've spent so far is like three Somali daycares. So I'm really not too concerned about the amount of money that we've spent so far. I think that we'll be okay. I think that this has actually been a very high functioning military operation so far, and we've been very cost effective because what they did first was they went in and they wiped out all of their ballistic. I mean, this is the great thing about the people that were talking about us running out of munitions. They said that like a day or two early, because now they're not even able to shoot any ballistic missiles anymore. Now there's like nothing going up, and I think flights are starting to return
well,
into
not
Israel at this
true.
point.
Yeah. Hey, Walt, I wasn't looking necessarily at the cost benefit of this specific conflict. I was looking at the overall outlay for the Navy on an annual basis. What is the operating cost to operate the six fleets and Naval Command, and the
So
cyber warfare
is that
element
like
of it?
nine Somali daycares then? I mean, how many is it? I mean, this is I judge everything based on the Leering centers.
I think we're up to 12, but the
Okay.
the return on investment is every dollar we spend on the Navy, we get $30 worth of benefits. And this is from Forrester Research and Boston Consulting and some very well-renowned entities that are able to look at that kind of thing, in addition to how many jobs it creates. And trade, represents a quarter, 25% of the United States GDP. So you can just imagine, how much additional benefit we have in being able to keep these lanes open for our partners and allies across the globe. And so I think it's just an interesting way to look at it, and it might be worth a review. The other thing was the JADC, the Joint All Domain Command technology that CENTCOM has in the Middle East. We were working with Israel, on the past couple of conflicts, but it was more like a relay race. We would do something, they would do something, we would do something, hand the baton off. This time around, we were 100% fully integrated with their systems, their intelligence, their satellites, their, drone technologies, everything. It gave both parties a 360-degree view of the battle space because we were flying joint fleets of planes or whatever you call that, bombing missions
Right.
side by side, and they would break off, do their thing, we would break off, do our thing. So it required that kind of coordination. First time ever in history, and that just speaks volumes to the level of strategic partnership that we have with Israel.
Yeah, I think that the movement by Israel has been unbelievable so far. So our operations together this time have been something else. That's the other part of it. I love it, the logistics. Oh yeah, we sort of planned a joint operation with another country and managed to use their air force and their intelligence, all that together. But we forgot to bring the bombs. We forgot those. I knew we forgot something, and it was definitely the missiles. Like, I mean, just it's so stupid. Okay, Jacktron, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to move on and maybe talk about it. It was a little, it's related to this, but we want to talk about something funny. I'm assuming you saw the post from Ben Stiller.
The one where he was claiming, oh, that don't use Tropic Thunder. How I didn't give you permission. Shut up, Ben.
Yes, that was
What?
Yeah.
yes, Ben. Yes, so the White House put out a post that came up with different clips of different movies in war, and one of the ones that they used was Tropic Thunder, and Ben Stiller replied to it saying, "Do not use Tropic Thunder in your war propaganda. We did not give you permission to do that." It's like, first off, Ben Stiller, you do not have the rights to Tropic Thunder. The rights to that belong to Paramount, so you have no say in that. Second, there are so many videos of Ben Stiller in Ukraine kissing Zelensky's ass, so he can just shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Well.
He went full retard, huh?
He
Like that.
absolutely did go full retard and went straight to potato.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Ben Stiller. I love these actors and actresses. Oh my God. If you support the president, then you need to stop watching my movies. Like, listen, shut the hell
De
up. I mean,
Niro.
these people, I don't care what you're, I don't care if you were a famous actor. Like, I don't go to you for anything to do with political analysis or military analysis or any analysis, really. In fact, I don't even go to you at all. I just go to the movies that someone else wrote and then you acted in. So I'm not really sure why they believe that they're important, but hopefully one day these people
He
will
went
learn how
full
to shut up.
Zoolander.
He went full
He
Zoolander.
went full Zoolander, but they ignore the fact that Trump 45, reformed the entire digital rights thing to ensure that these artists were getting paid, on streams, on Spotify and all this type of stuff, right? He did the Digital Music Act. I believe that's what it was called, Walter, Trump 45, that ensured that these artists, wouldn't have their intellectual property and their creations stolen from them, that they would get paid. And yet, look how ungrateful they are.
Well,
Well,
I
they're
mean,
coming off of all the cocaine he bought them, so.
I'm not too concerned about these people. I mean, at this point, all of them are going to be replaced by AI in like a week, so I don't really care.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I think that was a good point. Yeah, I'm sure Stephen King is also very mad that he's not getting his cocaine.
Stephen King, what a guy. Okay.
He's so bad.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, anyway,
I hate him so much.
listen, these people, I don't really worry about what celebrities do. I mean, in fact, I don't ever pay any attention to them at all for anything ever. I don't even watch their movies. So, all of the, oh my God, just stop watching my stuff. Like, okay, deal. I don't care. Same deal with Netflix. Like, oh my God, Netflix is woke. Like, I haven't had a Netflix subscription in 10 years. I don't know what you guys are doing, but I don't got time for that crap. Anyway, let's
Curt only watches cartoons. Just admit it.
watch cartoons with my daughter. That's about it. That's the only cartoons that I watch.
Does also watch. Well, And you watched Landman. You did admit to me that you did watch Landman.
Yeah, I did watch Landman. I binged the whole show in like a day because it was one random day that I actually didn't have anything to do, which is kind of amazing these days. At this point, at this point now, I don't even have time to do anything. I'm about to hire somebody so I can have more time to do things because I don't have any time. But anyway, so let's go ahead and move on from that. So it looks like, we can give any updates we see from Iran. It looks like I saw a couple things that came out that they said that they actually did manage to hit this radar system. So it looks like that may be confirmed. Now
Yes.
the problem with that is that I don't know exactly what their idea about the foreign policy, which is some newspaper that no one reads. They claim that it's going to take 8 years for us to rebuild that. I don't know where they get that stuff from. They claim that they think that's where they get it in the original sourcing from it, but I don't buy it. All right. I just don't. And plus, they also say that it being completely destroyed, they claim that is from the Iranians, essentially the ones claiming that. Which again, my question is always the same: is how on earth would they know? They don't know anything. I mean, there's like they keep popping Ayatollahs up and blowing them away, so I'm not really sure exactly how they would know any of that information. But anyway, so we can move on from this. This is going to
I
be
have that information for you though. The reason they know that is because the time it took for the ballistic missiles to hit Israel was about like from the time that they got a word from the U.S. that it was heading in their direction. It was about like 7 minutes, and it's usually about 20. So that's how they knew that the air defense system was kind of messed up, but only parts of it, and it's very replaceable. It's nothing as bad as like the Russian kind of they have. Also, they're barraging Israel right now, so just FYI.
the Iranians are barraging right now.
Yes, sir.
How many rockets have they launched right now?
I don't know yet. I will update you.
Okay, yeah, let me know. Jacktron, you have your hand up. What's up? Unless it's broken again.
No, it's not. I also wanted to ask if maybe you wanted to talk about this Asif Mershon case at all.
The what now?
The case of the guy who was the guy who tried to kill Trump, who was being forced to by the Iranians. Essentially, it was an Iranian plot to kill Trump.
No, I don't know anything about this, so you're gonna have to bring me up to speed on that one.
All right, so there was this case about this guy named Asif Mershon, who was a Pakistani national, who was in Iran 2 weeks before flying into Houston, and meets up with a guy to talk about a murder for hire, scenario, but it turns out that the guy that he was meeting with was an FBI informant, and then the FBI informant is around driving him around to places, but originally the Merchant, the guy, manages to scrounge up some money from, I forget where the source was. I think it may have been Iran, and then hands it off to two guys and sketches up a potential plan to shoot Trump at a rally. He also named other targets like Joe Biden and Nikki Haley, but primarily it was Trump, saying he was being forced to by the Iranians under threats from his family.
Interesting.
So,
On a restaurant
yeah,
napkin.
You had a
yeah,
restaurant.
it was on.
That's
Yes, it was
interesting.
on a it was on a restaurant napkin that he wrote this out, talking about state about starting disturbing the crowd with all that, just so he can get in through an escape route, and then and as I mentioned, the hitman that he gave the $5,000 to for the murder to hire scheme turned out to also be FBI informants.
This is something that happens a lot. If you are trying to murder somebody and you're trying to buy someone for hire to do that, 90% of the time the person that you're hiring is not a hitman, but literally works for the FBI. So, just in case you ever had those terrible ideas, then just understand that you're probably just paying for someone to arrest you, which I find absolutely hilarious that even exists in the first place. But
Yeah,
anyway.
but the interesting thing about this is that there are so many people on this app who are trying to claim that this was FBI entrapment. And I have been arguing with this clown journalist for the last 2 days about this, and he says that the only way connection that he has to say that this was an entrapment operation is because all the people around this guy were informants. And I mean, that's not how entrapment works. Entrapment is when the government is coercing you, bribes you to try to get you to commit crimes. Like if
Well,
you want to
okay,
take the
so
case of the
hold
murder
on. So
report.
hold on. That's not entirely true, okay? Entrapment, there's a number of ways that entrapment can work. So for instance, on an example of entrapment, the FBI, when you guys remember the Gretchen Whitmer case, right, where there's a group of guys that's claimed they were going to kidnap Whitmer. Well, there's apparently only 2 guys who were actually interested in doing that. And apparently the 2 guys that were part of it, the rest of the people that were planning the operation and doing all that stuff were all FBI, and they all got off. Those 2 guys got off because of that, because there was apparently 11 FBI informants. They were all working with them, training them to go kidnap Whitmer. And then at the end of it, they were like, well, but what the hell? I mean, every single person around us was telling us how to do this. So it's not that simple. Entrapment can be a lot of different things. Now, for a guy that was intentionally trying to assassinate a president, I feel like, you have to kind of seek that out before, it's not like someone was trying to help you along the way on that one. So I think that might be a bit different. But in terms of entrapment, it is a little bit more complicated than that.
Yeah, it's not a book club,
Yeah, no, I mean, this guy absolutely was not being coerced into doing anything. He came to the informants first after he was in Iran 2 weeks before flying into Houston.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt any of that. I'm just saying that entrapment's not as simple as what you just said it was. But anyway, so that's good. It looks like that guy's going to be charged. That's great. There's also another story on legal grounds that our favorite Maryland man, his final deportation order has been served. So I don't know where he's going. The last update was that he was going to Swaziland, or where the hell was the name of the place? We didn't even know the name of it last time they were deported. It was going to be somewhere else. Wherever it is, it's not here. So it's, he is actually finally being deported, which is good news. But at least that only took us a year to deport a single person, which I find absurd. But I guess we'll get to find out where he's going soon enough.
Can we deport Maryland with him?
Maybe. That would be good. If he can get Jamie Raskin, that would be perfect. What's his name? What was his name? Murphy? Was it Murphy?
Was Massachusetts.
What now?
I thought Jamie Raskin was a congressman from Massachusetts.
No, he's Maryland. Maryland 3. Anyway, no. So we can keep going from that. That was just a little sidebar there on legal grounds, because I just saw that came across a minute ago.
The bad news is that he's making like 25 cents a download of his app. Where in the world is Kilmar Abrego Garcia?
Oh man, that's true. I think I should set that up for free. Actually, I'll have a whole like where's Waldo, and you can actually try and pick it out on a map where we sent him, because there's been so many locations where they said they were going to send him. So I guess we'll get to find out where they finally do send him here very soon, since that finally is going through, which is great.
Every time he disappears, you play In the Arms of the Angels.
There we go. Perfect. In the Arms of the Angels. Oh, the poor gangbanger MS-13 guy. Oh no. Oh, I'm so distraught that we're deporting this guy. I don't care. Anyhow, so we can move on from that too. So anyway, the next line of news, I guess, is really talking about the politics of what's going on. There's apparently the shift inside the administration is really interesting, actually, with Kristi Noem being moved out. Now, there's been a bunch of hilarious memes for that, by the way. I don't know how true all of the corruption issues that they're talking about on that is. I'm not sure, because she's not being completely thrown out of the administration. She's being moved somewhere else. They're also bringing in Senator Mullins, who's now going to be the head of DHS. That he's going to have to go through the confirmation process, which should be interesting. But the other part of this that I think is much more interesting is now I think we're finally getting to the point where we may actually see a shift inside the administration. Now, this is something Trump does. For those who don't know anything about Trump or have never really paid attention to how he runs businesses or anything like that, the way that Trump usually operates is he does like a year review of all of his worst and lowest performers and then replaces them. And this is something he did in his first term. This is something he's done in all of his businesses. So I assume that the next wave of people that you're going to see replacement, we're actually going to see other people in the administration get stepped away. Now, there's a bunch of interesting things that can play into this. Right now, you've got a really interesting Senate primary between Ken Paxton and Cornyn. And Trump has yet to announce the endorsement on that side. And I think that's probably going to play into this. I think that you may see a Paxton bid for Attorney General. And I think that might actually happen, which a bunch of people wanted Paxton in the first place. I actually wanted Paxton. I wanted Paxton or Andrew Bailey to be AG. So I was wondering if they were going to figure out a way to do that. But now I think there's maybe actually leverage for Trump to do so. I think that that's very possible with this Cornyn deal. If he endorses Cornyn, keeps Cornyn in the Senate, makes Thune happy, and then gets Thune to allow him to do recess appointments or gets Thune to allow him to do a number of other things. So I think that's a big play that's coming up here. So I think there's going to be a shift inside the administration. I think you're going to see Pam Bondi maybe get moving out. I've heard people talk about Kash Patel getting moved out. I don't know about that. I'm not sure on that one. But I would think that Pam Bondi might get thrown out. So I think there's a bunch of things that are changing right now inside the administration. So I think we're about to see a shakeup. And there's even talk, and I hope it God it's true, that Susie Wiles herself may be being removed. And if that happens, I'll have a party that day. I'll be drinking champagne on the stream. Listen, I can't stand that woman. I think she is terrible. So, if we can get rid of Susie Wiles before we get into the midterms, really get into the midterms and actually put someone real in there that actually knows what they're doing, I'll be very, very, very happy. I hope it's Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller actually being the chief of staff would make my day. He actually understands what the base wants, and he actually gets things done. So I think that would be the best thing that could possibly happen. If we start to shift some stuff around, we start to see Miller move up, get Susie Wiles out of the way, get Pam Bondi out of the way, I think a lot of things will change. There was a bunch of really interesting stuff that came out just after they announced that Kristi Noem was no longer going to be in at DHS. There's something along the lines that she was blocking some stuff from inside the administration. So I don't know if that's true or not. But I'm not going to really buy into every single story that comes out on her, because now the wolves are out. I'm not sure I buy all that. Kristi seems like she's been great for the administration. She's just being moved over to another section. So we'll see how that actually plays out. But now Mullen's going to be in there, and people are going to try and complain about Mullen. But Mullen's a very popular senator. He's going to run through the he's going to get confirmed super easily. That's not even going to be a problem for him. So I think that'll be very easy for him. But if we actually see a deal between Paxton and Trump and Cornyn and Thune, that is going to be a huge thing to watch. So that's what I'm paying a lot of attention to right now.
Yeah, Walter, you were muted there.
I was muted there. I mean, I don't know what's
Yes, you were muted there.
I'm not muted for me. Not muted. It looks like the space itself might be breaking, but it's working from the actual live version of the show. So I don't know what's going on over there. But the space is X. So it looks like it just dropped every speaker for me. Now it brought everybody back up. So I don't know what's going on. X is just wonderful for spaces. I wish there was a better way for me to do this, but there isn't. So, okay.
Get rid of that Periscope technology, that awful Periscope technology.
Yeah, but they're not. See, the deal is, if they were going to do that, they would have done it forever ago. Okay, they got other priorities for X. They don't give a damn about. They don't give a damn about spaces. They don't care. Even though it's one of the most used things on the platform, it's just not something they care about. All right, Sunlight, you got your hand up. What's up, bud?
Yeah. So the Kristi Noem thing, it's like we were talking about, just a few minutes ago. Everybody loves dirty laundry, right? And so now they can speculate and throw all kinds of crap in there, bring up the dog again, and yada yada yada.
I will say,
at the end,
just on that note right there, with bring up the dog again, the funniest Babylon Bee article I have ever seen in this administration was "Tearful Trump takes Kristi Noem behind woodshed." That was too much for me. I lost it when I saw that. That was too much.
Oh my Lord,
that is the fun.
So funny.
They never missed. That was incredible. I loved that article. Anyway, go ahead, Sunlight. Sorry.
Yeah. But Pete Hegseth hosted the inaugural, America's Counter Cartel Conference yesterday, right? And at Southern Command in Doral, Florida, 17 countries, security heads and other, defense heads and ministers and so on and so forth. So, I mean, a lot of planning went into that. And so then Kristi Noem gets announced to be the spearhead on that as a special envoy, right? And it's called the Shield of the Americas, with 17 initial countries. And, there's another 6 or 7, that they're going to add, Walt. But interestingly, out of those 17, 14 of them had signed up for MOUs with China's Belt and Road Initiative. So those are basically tabled. Another 2 are Venezuela and Cuba. Well, we know that Venezuela is no longer in China's back pocket, so that's 15 out of the 22 that China had signed up. So that leaves Cuba, which is about to fall. So then we're going to be left with 6 more countries to bring into the fold, and China will be officially shut out of the Western Hemisphere, 100%. So the announcement, the cadence of it, Walter, I'm not buying, that she screwed up in the Senate hearing, and then Trump did a knee-jerk reaction. He isn't going to operate like that, especially given the scrutiny of the cabinet and everything else. I think that this was planned. It's been a planned move for several weeks, and the timing was Pete Hegseth kicks it off, and then Kristi Noem gets named to spearhead it as a special envoy. That's my thought.
Well, that makes sense to me, to be honest with you, because again, like I said it before, the Kristi Noem, you can say whatever you want about her, but I really don't think that she's done a bad job given the scenario that she was given, all the disastrous stuff that they had to deal with when they first came in, especially with how much Biden had destroyed the interior. So, I mean, I'm really not concerned about it. I think she'll be just fine. And plus, Trump moves around his people, especially people that actually work for him and do well. So we'll see. We'll see what she ends up doing. But if she's going to head that up, I think that that's obviously not a. I don't know. You could call it a demotion if you care about cabinet positions to that point. But it sounds like a pretty important job to me. But anyway, let's go on. So go ahead,
she
Angel.
she was getting death threats like left and right, like constantly, and that wasn't one thing. But did DHS end up getting their budgeting?
No, not as far as I'm
So
aware.
I
Wait,
feel
actually,
like
no, they
it
did.
was
They
just like,
did actually. No, that went through. That kind of quietly went through just the other day, right after Kristi Noem was moved out. Then they started moving forward with the DHS budgeting. So, and I
Oh,
think,
well, isn't that quite a coincidence?
yeah, well,
Now
that's
I
kind of what
know
I'm talking
also.
about.
Yeah, but if we're talking on the discussion of funds, I know that there's also discussions in the House now to freeze funds to the Senate until they get the SAVE Act passed, which I think is also a very good idea.
Yeah, I mean, listen to me. There needs to be something done, which is part of the reason I'm paying a lot of attention to this Cornyn and Paxton stuff, because that right there tells me. Listen, the reason I'm paying a lot of attention to it is there's a couple of reasons, but if you think about it, right now Trump could essentially cost Thune $70 million. I mean, that's how much money Cornyn spent on his campaign already, and Paxton has literally spent $4 million. So if Trump decided to back Paxton for that Senate seat, I think Paxton would win easily. I mean, I think that would not be a challenge for him at all to win that seat. So if that's what Trump wanted to do, now he's got a scenario where he can play into it. And Trump controls the primaries more than any other candidate out there, more than any other president ever really has. He's got more control over that because Trump's voters go out for him. I mean, they do. So I think there's a great graphic that someone put up the other day that showed all of the 36 something primary opponents that Trump endorsed, that they all won their seats. So I'm not, I think that this is just how it works now. The Republican Party is Trump's party. And people are starting to realize it now. We'll see what the next wave of this is, because we got another wave of primaries coming up. I'm looking to
Yeah.
watch. I'm specifically watching Massey. I want to see if he loses his seat. That'll be interesting.
I will celebrate with so hard when he loses. I mean, did you see that report today that came out that like so many of his donations are coming from this guy with this pseudonym like Farouk or
yes,
something?
I
Like,
posted in the pill. I love
yeah,
it.
and it's like
7,000.
75% of the guy's donations go to people like Ilhan Omar and Keith Ellison.
Yeah, but the
So it's
better
like
part about it, the better part about it is the amount. It happens to be
Seven
exactly seven
thousand.
thousand
seven
dollars.
thousand dollars, just like the $7,000 Massey got from the son of Bill Gates.
I
So
mean,
I
it's
mean
just I
that
just
is
find it
also very
hysterical that it's
hysterical.
$7,000. I mean, this like, can we make it any more of a meme? I mean, really? I mean, at this point, it's something else that like it's $7,000. How many times has everybody on this freaking app heard someone call them saying that I'm getting paid $7,000? I mean, it's like, yeah, I told somebody a while back that I was getting paid $38,000 per tweet, and they were like, "At least you're honest." I'm like, "Oh my god, you're retarded!" Like, holy
I
Christ.
charge at least $10,000 a tweet. But you know what's actually kind of funny? That rumor start get want to know where that rumor started? I think I told you this already. That started at the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft, the George Soros funded NGO, where Massey was recently given an award by at that place by an Iranian lobbyist. I mean, how like it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, well, there's a bunch of people that out here that they just have decided that they don't care, that they're gonna talk about whatever they want. And the Quincy Institute stuff, I still don't really understand the whole Megyn Kelly arc. I'm not really sure. She is one of these people that she has zero direct principles. And I don't know if people realize that, but she doesn't. I mean, she was the known. How did Megyn Kelly ever initially hear about her? One, she was a huge Fox News host, and then that she has the blow up with Trump at the debate, and that's what made her super uber famous. And then she kind of disappeared for a little while, and then she starts a podcast and has a more conservative style podcast, gets reasonably big again as a conservative podcast, and then she blows in the direction again, and now she's sitting out here saying that Candace Owens is a saint and has never done anything wrong. I mean, this is
I actually
I
can
just don't
answer
have
this
time for it.
question. I can actually answer this question. So to sum it up, it's really Megyn Kelly goes wherever the money goes. Her bravery, as Ben Shapiro put it. I have my own grapes with Ben Shapiro, but on this, he's absolutely correct. That her bravery ends when the clicks does. So back when Trump was first running, she was very much against him. In 2015, she called him a clown. You had that moment. And then soon after Trump gets elected, she gets fired from Fox. Then she goes over to NBC where she actually is celebrating the transing of kids. Then she leaves NBC, and then that's when she starts the podcast. And then she comes out as being pro Trump after the midterms, and now we were on the stage of okay, I hate Trump again.
Well, I mean, like I said, she blows with the wind. Like I said, there's no principle behind it. That's what my point was. I mean, you can say whatever you want. You get anybody who doesn't like Ben Shapiro. You can say whatever you want about Ben Shapiro. I have been listening to Ben Shapiro for over 10 years. He has been saying the same thing for 10 years. I mean, that's the kind of the only problem I have with him. And it's like, I know what his take is. I don't have to listen to it. I know exactly what he's going to say. I mean, it's to the point that I've heard everything he has to say. That's the only problem that Ben Shapiro has, because he's a normal conservative, an actual conservative. Part of the problem we have on the right now is there's a bunch of people that use the label conservative but aren't actually conservatives. They're not. They're not really conservatives. They're populists. That's what they really are. They're just populists. And populist doesn't necessarily have to have some sort of conservative backing. It's not like these people read Edmund Burke and actually consider themselves real Burkean conservatives or anything. Most people don't even know who Edmund Burke is. But that's just how it is. I mean, everyone now, conservative influencers this, conservative influencers that. I mean, this is the same problem that I have with Nick Fuentes, of all people. Nick Fuentes doesn't have any principle behind anything he says either. He just does whatever he thinks is popular at the time, or whatever he personally decides what it is that he stands for at any given moment. It doesn't necessarily have to have some sort of specific backing for him to do it. It may be logical how he lands at the conclusion, but there's no principled position behind it. That's the problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, no, 100%. You can see now, he's saying that he's going to vote Democrat. Even, he's been saying this for every election cycle. He said endorse Kamala, but now he's once again coming out and saying that he's going to be voting Democrat in the 2016 midterms and telling all of his followers to do so, which is funny considering that most of his followers don't even vote.
Well, listen, that doesn't have anything to do with it. I don't necessarily go after these people and say that they don't vote. They might vote. Who knows? But the problem that I have with it is generally that you're listening to somebody that changes their opinions based on personal feelings rather than actually have a principled position behind it. That's the issue, really. When you actually don't stand for something that you believe in and actually have something that really truly backs what you think, then you can kind of just blow with the wind, and anything that comes your way, you can interpret it however you want, and that's kind of the problem. I mean, if you don't have some real backing to your intelligence or real backing to your principles for anything, if you don't understand the arguments behind it, then you don't really get anywhere. I mean, that's the problem. Someone can convince you, if you have no principled position, if you really don't have principles behind it, then someone can convince you through a logical argument that you're wrong, and then you have to change your position. I mean, that's the reality of it. I mean, there's no one that can come up here and convince me not to back on a conservative position, because that's exactly what I believe from the ground up, from every piece of literature I've ever read. So you're going to have a very difficult time managing to break away from that sort of position. The only time you see true conservatives, change their position is usually gradually. It'll be over about a 10-year period or a 5-year period, and you'll hear it in their voice, what they're talking about, and it slowly changes and slowly shifts and slowly moves. That's the only time it changes for people that are actually conservatives, because they don't want to change anything, because they're conservatives. That's part of it. And that's just how it works. I mean, for me, the biggest change that I had is I was kind of on the same page as a lot of people when it came to foreign policy, and how I was like, we don't need to be involved in a lot of stuff. We don't need to be involved in wars. We don't need to be involved in anything. But then I saw Joe Biden come into office, and I saw what happens when the United States is failure on foreign policy across the world. Everything's lights on fire, like almost immediately. I mean, you think about how quickly that happened, all right? I mean, just Joe Biden gets into office. Every single policy decision he had caused a war, a violent breakdown of some kind. We lost 11 embassies. 11 embassies from the United States had to be reduced underneath Joe Biden. The Russians invade, the Iranians blow up Israel. Gaza happens. All of this has happened because of Joe Biden. I mean, that's because of very, very, very weak foreign policy. This is what caused that. So I got to see the difference between strong foreign policy and weak foreign policy, and that's what made me shift my position to a much more hawkish position. My opinion now is blow them all up and figure it out later, and it looks like Trump's working real well with that position, so I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a very interesting journey, especially like when you see even like Fetterman is like, you saw him on Jesse Waters. He's just like, oh, there it goes, boom.
Listen, Fetterman at this point, I think he's going to have to caucus with the Republicans. I mean, they're going to kill him if they don't. I mean, it is very funny to watch Fetterman. He's like, oh, look at that. That was great. Boom. Yeah, I like that. Like, Fetterman is I think his stroke removed his ability to filter anything that comes out of his mouth. So now anything that he says, it's just like the first thing he thinks of. Like, I think that's what happens. Like, so he says something, he sees something, he's like, oh yeah, that's awesome, I like that. And he's like, oh shit, I said it. But I don't think he has any filter whatsoever anymore. I think that's just how it is now.
Yeah. So the thing with Fetterman is, I think
Shut up,
his
shut up, shut up.
All right, listen,
okay,
bitch.
Russian
Yeah, listen,
sec-
sorry. So you come up on my show and you got to come up here and say something and interrupt my people and say and being rude. You can just leave. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Oh, you're probably muted. Give me just a moment and I'll be able to fix that. There we go. Now you're unmuted. Go ahead. Double mute, Angel. Now you can go.
Thank you. Yeah, the thing about Fetterman, he's adorable, first of all, and he just looks like he's going downstairs, like in Congress. He's like, I'm just going downstairs to get some more bong water. Like he just looks. But I think that part of his brain that got like hurt was the emotional, like hysterical part that they're selling so hard at the DNC.
Maybe.
And yeah, Israel, by the way, got a little bit like 2 barrages of missiles, and I think they zapped them. Actually, they've been zapping them.
Yeah, well, the direct energy weapons, I don't know if they're actually using them. I've heard someone talking about it. That's the kind of stuff that you're not going to actually know when they're being used. That's my guess. I mean, I don't think that people actually know what we're using. So,
because when they have the Iron Dome thing, you hear like you hear it, you hear a missile take off, and when you have the zapper, it's not like that at all. It just takes care of everything.
Well, yeah, again, my point is that you're not going to see it or hear about it if we're using it. That's what my point is. You may not see the missiles going out. And it might give you a clue, but no one actually knows. So was there actually a report of how many missiles, though, is what I'm more interested by?
I don't know how many because a lot of them were stopped also by Jordan and by the United States. I could tell you how many made it into to Israel itself if you want, but nothing hit. I don't think there were any direct hits right now.
Interesting. Well, I'm just curious because the barrage numbers is what I'm more interested by. The actual ballistic launches, I've been tracking that because essentially they went from 350 the first day to like 80 the second day to 50 the next day to 10 to 5. So I mean, the question is how many did they launch? Well, I mean, it's not just that they're running out of launchers; it's that anybody who pokes their head up gets blown to smithereens. So I mean, there's nothing left of them. So it's not just they're running out of launchers; that anybody who pokes their head outside to launch one for 4 seconds is dead almost immediately. So I guess we'll have to see what the actual amount of launches were. That's going to be important.
Yeah, they did about four barrages today. I think they did one to. They also started doing it with Lebanon too, because Lebanon is like, well, we're not really Hezbollah at this point because the Bieber thing, but we'll join in on the party. And they kind of did a symbolic little thing on Haifa and all that. But it really was useless. They didn't hit anything. The only major damage was a entire family of 9, I believe, in Bet Shemesh, which is by Jerusalem, and the Palestinian hospital in East Jerusalem.
Listen, the hilarity of the Iranians dropping bombs on themselves is never going to cease to amaze me. I mean, this has just been great. I have enjoyed listening to I love all the memes of the Chinese tech where there's, the Chinese missile defense system. Like, oh, this missile defense system is fantastic. It explodes when a stealth bomber's in the area. That way you are aware that there's actually a problem. I love those memes. They're great. And there's China offers nothing but moral support to the Iranians. There's the great meme of somebody put up as, that we need help. And then there's the plane flying over. You're doing great, kid. I love these things. They're fantastic.
They don't even know how to say moral. They say molar.
I don't know. I'm enjoying it regardless. I think it's been very entertaining. So anyway, let's see here. We got some other request here. Oh, Sunlight. Sunlight was just dropped out. I was just trying to get him on to talk too. Guys, if you'd like to join the show, you're more than welcome to do so, by the way. If you guys are on and listening to us on any of the other streams, the only way you can join the show and talk is you got to go to x.com, go to @WC Dispatch, and you can join the show and talk yourself. I appreciate everybody who shares the show, by the way. If you guys are on the space, make sure you guys share the link out so people know that we are indeed live. If you guys are listening and watching on the actual live video, make sure you guys repost the live video there as well. That assists getting more people to the show. And if you guys want to support the show, go to WCDispatch.com, or you can actually subscribe right here on X and get the behind the scenes and some of the investigation stuff that I'm working on. I actually put an image out of some of the investigative work that I'm working on right now earlier because I found some really interesting piece of data. I was looking around doing some work and found that apparently in St. Louis, Missouri, there's like 400 freaking home healthcare providers, but the state line, it like perfectly divides. So they're only on the Missouri side, not on the Illinois side. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. So I thought that was interesting. So I put that little image out of that, and that's the interactive map. By the way, the map on the website is now about to be over 100,000 providers. Currently, it's at 25,000, so that'll be updated here in the near future. But anyway, I want to go over here to
Okay.
Aladdin. Aladdin, I haven't talked to you in a minute, buddy. What is happening?
What's up, bro? Are we gonna do the Hawala thing investigation?
No, that's going to be a minute from now, dude. I'm so busy right now.
Nah, that's fine. Did you see my scoop?
No, I haven't seen your scoop. What's your scoop?
Do you mind if I put it in the jumbotron?
Put it on the, but just put it in the comments so I don't have to. The problem with me putting it at the top is I can't see anything. So please don't do that. So just put it on the bottom.
Yeah, so I got a private text message somebody forwarded to me is Hezbollah Lebanon put out a message with Quran verse and also anybody who wants to donate use that phone number to all the fleeing Hezbollah people.
Donate to the fleeing Hezbollah. You can donate to a fleeing terrorist today for $19.99. That's amazing. That's hysterical.
Yeah. So let me text it to you.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
For the low price of
Remember, thank you for that
$19.99,
number.
you can support a fleeing terrorist today. That's pretty damn
Fuck
funny.
Hezbollah.
That's pretty damn funny. I love it. Sunlight, go ahead,
Great.
buddy.
Yeah, I was just going to add on John Cornyn. You know, before he was a Texas senator, he was in our Supreme
Hey,
Court. Sorry if I'm
Sunlight,
kind
you've
of
got
loud
a
here.
ton of background noise, dude.
Yeah. I'll chime in later.
Okay,
I'll chime
that's
in a
fine.
bit later.
All right, go ahead,
He's not
Jack.
having a good time.
Go ahead, Angel. I mean, whoever's got their hand up.
Jack.
Oh, that was me. So there was another story. I'm guessing a lot of us missed it today. But before I talk about it, it turns out that also the Massey donor, the $7,000 donor, also gives money to Marjorie Taylor Greene. So that's just kind of funny. So she also gets the $7,000 donations. But also there was another story today that there was two stories I saw today. So Republicans in lawmakers have referred criminal charges to the Department of Justice for Cassidy Hutchinson, the Secret Service agent who basically made that bullshit story up about Trump on J6, trying to grab the limo driver, which of course was absurd to begin with. And then I saw also this other story that said that the Virginia has passed a law saying that you cannot teach any other version of J6 other than it was an insurrection.
Yeah, well, that's something that they pushed forward. I don't know if they actually managed to get into the actual law yet, but yes, they did do that. This goes on top of a bunch of the other stuff that the Virginia legislator and the Virginia, the affordability queen Spamberger, she is out there just doing the Democrats' work for affordability, making sure to raise taxes on everything. But the more interesting thing in Virginia is obviously to watch the redistricting stuff. Which, by the way, at the open of the show, I mentioned this. I'll mention it again now. That I'm going to be having a congressman on to talk about that redistricting effort. So I'm going to be talking about that here in the near future. So look for that, and that'll probably be sometime next week.
Didn't you say that the judges were already going to block that?
Well, it's currently blocked right now, but they have to rule on it. But even still, they're still preparing for it in case they actually do that. So.
Long live the Ayatollah. Long live the Islamic Republic. Death to America.
Good
Death
for you.
to
Well,
America.
the problem is that you're all dying when you're saying that stuff. So you can claim, long live the Ayatollah, but he is literally dead, like currently dead. Yeah, and I hope you're aware of that. So, we've blown up the first Ayatollah and the second Ayatollah and the third Ayatollah. So you're running out of Ayatollah. That's the problem you have right now. So you can say long live the Ayatollah, but which one? So if you can answer which one, then you can stick around. But which Ayatollah are we wishing long life to? Because we keep blowing up Ayatollah. You've only got a few Ayatollahs left. Which Ayatollah is it? Answer the question. No?
Ilan Abuk. Ya Habibi.
No?
Go fuck yourself.
No,
Stop
Yeah,
muting me,
no.
okay?
He's
I mean, I
muting
can mute
England.
you if I want. I
Try
asked you a question.
talking.
Hold on here. I asked him a question.
I mean, the
Which
idea that you could just
Ayatollah?
blow up a
Which
guy
Ayatollah?
halfway across the world is just ridiculous, you can't even point Iran on a map.
You
I
know
mean,
what I
I
could
can
point
point at
out on a
Iran on
map
a map.
though?
Hold on a minute here. Stop interrupting him. I'm talking to him. So I asked you a question. You said, "Long live the Ayatollah." Which
Yeah.
one?
Martyrs never die, okay? Martyrs are
Oh,
die
okay.
had
So, well,
martyrdom.
so long live means figuratively, not literally, because he's literally dead. So, I mean, are we long living which Ayatollah then? I mean, so which one are we on now? Are
Look,
we on 3 or 4?
look, you guys don't even know the geopolitics of that place, and you just bomb it.
Aw.
I
You
do know
just
the
bomb it, and
geopolitics of it pretty well,
yeah,
actually. But
right.
I mean, I'm just asking. You
Yeah,
came up here and said "Death to America" and "Long live the
yeah. Death
Ayatollah."
to America.
Yeah, I mean, well,
He
look,
knows the
buddy, I don't
geopolitics.
care if you want to say "Death to America." I'm just
No,
asking
when
you
I when
which
I get my
Ayatollah.
when I get my hands on nuclear weapons, I tell you, the American race is gonna be over. Okay, I'm gonna wipe out every single American on
Ah,
the
okay.
face
So
of the
you're
planet
going
when
to
I get my
personally
hands on
do
nuclear
that.
weapons. Okay,
So you're
when I
going to
get my hands.
personally wipe out the American race. Well, seeing how we have
When I
almost
get
completely obliterated the entire IRGC, sank your entire Navy, sank your entire Air Force. I mean, I know I said sank your Air Force, but it might be in the bottom of the desert somewhere since we fucking blew it out of the water. So what exactly is it that you think you're killing? Because you're not doing a great job so far. Now, wait. Do you have a line on when the next generation missiles are coming out? Because I was told reliably by your dead Ayatollah that the next generation missiles are on their way. When are those coming? No?
Dun, dun, dun,
No?
dun,
Okay.
dun.
Well, anyway, you were fun to talk to for a minute. But anyway, so yeah, I don't care about your
He doesn't
Ayatollah.
even
So
speak Farsi.
well, I'm not worried about I'm not worried about him. He come up here and say "Death to America," but he was long live which one? I mean, that's the only real question I have for you. So
He's Indian. What are you talking about?
He's not
whatever.
Like,
Indian. He's
I don't care
Iraqi.
where he's from. I mean, it doesn't matter to me where he's from. He said "Long live the Ayatollah." I was just really curious which Ayatollah because we're on like 4, 5, 7, 8. I don't know which one we're on now. We keep killing them. So I do enjoy that, and I guess martyrs never die, but except those ones, they definitely died. They definitely died along with every single person that they knew. So that didn't work out too well for them. Anyway, we
That
can
was
keep
about
going though.
40 of them.
No, all 40 of them. I mean, someone asked the other day. They said, "How long do you think this war can last?" And I said, "I don't know how many Ayatollahs they got left. They're going to run out eventually." So, I mean, unfortunately for them, we keep killing them. So, I love Trump on this. By the way, Trump is hysterical. He said this earlier. I think I even saved the clip. Maybe no, I don't think I did. But there's a clip of Trump today, and he said, we took out their leadership, and then we took out their second wave of leadership, and then we took out their third wave of leadership, then we took out their Air Force and their Navy. But other than that, they're doing great. So, it's just classic Trump, just absolutely talking shit, which I just enjoy thoroughly. So, anyway, but that was
got
entertaining.
99 problems, but an Ayatollah ain't one.
Anyway. Yeah, now people are saying that I have to clip myself saying that we keep blowing up the Ayatollahs. So that's okay. We can do that. We'll make sure we put a clip out of asking how many Ayatollahs are left. But that's very entertaining though. I do enjoy when people come up here.
Posting that clip.
Oh man, what a great entertainment. Anyway, if there's any other Ayatollah worshippers in the crowd, you're more than welcome to come up here. And if you have an answer to the question of which Ayatollah remains, you are more than welcome to come up and answer. But if you don't know, please don't join. I mean, if you don't have a real answer for me on which Ayatollah we're on, because that's the real question everybody's asking. They keep saying there's stuff like the leadership of Iran. Like who? Who exactly? Who are you referring to? And so that's what I keep asking. Which one? I mean, I don't know what's left. So you got to answer before you even say that there's the leadership of Iran said something. But like, who is it exactly that's saying
It's like
that?
a 12 level cleric or something like that in that leadership, but or some crap like Aladdin. You know this better.
No, so here's a couple things. Like there was 2 of them got killed already. Not 3. There's rumors, and every conservative major account, and they start resharing the same bullshit. Like Mustafa Khamenei got elected as the new supreme leader. I immediately debunked it, and because I have sources on the Shiite leadership inside in Iraq and Iran, and they told me it's like, nope, that's not true, and he does not want it at all.
Well, I mean,
So
to be fair to him, Aladdin, would you want it right now? I mean, that's a temporary
no,
position at this
no,
point. That doesn't
fuck
sound
no.
like a position
Hell
anybody
no.
wants right now. I mean, it's, the
Yeah,
position's
like
very
he
temporary. You
just
start
gave.
it, and then about 4 hours later, it's over. So it's a very, very short position right now. So I'm not sure anybody really wants that one.
I'd rather
Yeah,
do
I mean,
McDonald's at that point, you know?
no, he doesn't want it. And also, actually, he's not that popular. Just so you guys know, like inside of Iran, Mustafa Khamenei, he's not that popular. He's not as popular as his father is at all. Like he does not even have 50% support of the actual Shiite faction of the Iranian population. So, with that being said, it was like, uh, uh, as funny as this sound was, like, does anybody want that title at this
Yeah.
point?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't think
no.
anybody wants to be supremely dead. So I mean, I'm not sure they want the
Yeah,
supreme position.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Supremely dead.
Yeah,
yeah.
you'd be supremely fucking fried into oblivion.
Yeah, I
Like
do
within
enjoy.
24
There's the
hours.
story about the guy from the Quds Force, the IRGC leader of the Quds Force. That's like the last remaining general. And there's some guy that keeps posting that he's actually a Mossad agent. He just posts it like 20 times a day. He's like, look, he happens to be the only guy left. I wonder why. And you just keep saying it. Earlier, he said that I even quoted it because I thought it was true at first. I'm not sure if it is true or not. I have no actual
It's
information with
not.
it. I mean,
It's a joke.
we don't know that though. I mean, he is the only guy left, so it's very
No, he's
possible that
not.
the head of the
Not if
Quds
he
Force
was
is
it.
a
Are you
friggin'
talking about
Mossad
the?
agent.
Are you talking about the old guy with like fucking all gray hair?
Yeah, whatever his
Yeah.
name is. Yeah, I mean, we don't know,
Yeah,
but I mean,
the
Yeah,
red
he's
guy.
apparently
that's
I
it.
just love
Yeah,
that this guy keeps.
that guy's cooked.
Well, I mean, but they keep saying that he's the Mossad agent, which I mean, if this point, it would be very funny if he just was. So, like, I don't know if it's true or not, but I find it hysterical that guy's like, oh, look, he's the only one left. Wonder why that is. He's back in Israel. He's very happy back in Israel. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not. I have no information whether or not. I
Not
just thought
in
it was
Israel.
hysterical.
No one's seen him since 2025.
I saw a post that he's in Israel, and honestly, there was zero confirmation on that at all. The guy never been. He has not been seen in actual public since at least 9 months.
Hmm.
Yeah, and also he was born in Mashhad. He was born where the other Ayatollah was born, and yeah, it's not. The thing is, it was an Israeli joke. They got out of control because they were like, we're unable to kill him, so let's just say that he's one of us, and they'll kill him for us.
Well, I
Oh
find
yeah,
it,
I mean,
whatever the joke
the
is, I don't
Israelis.
care if it's a joke or not. At this point, it very well might be true. I mean, at this point, the guy's the only general left. If he actually is still alive, I mean, how is he still alive? I mean, that's a damn good question. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he isn't. Who cares? I mean, it's very funny regardless. I find it very entertaining.
But by the
Yeah,
way,
they
did you
started
see
putting
that?
him in gasoline commercials and stuff.
Did you
Like
see
AI
that
version.
video I posted earlier about like the mobile rocket launcher that we picked up or we picked off from it was hitting inside of a building, and we blew it up. And like if you go to my timeline, and the video came out of Iran, and basically that motherfucker, it was like an 18 wheeler, basically a semi truck, but it's a mobile launcher, and that's how good our targeting systems and radars and scanners are. Like we're
Yeah,
picking
I heard a
off.
stat earlier today that apparently if anything launches within 4 minutes of said launch, whatever it was that launched is no longer, on this planet anymore. It has been vaporized shortly afterwards. So, I mean,
They
I don't think
launched
much
from
of
No,
it's
that,
left of
yeah.
that.
this one is this one was even hidden inside of a building.
Well, I mean, that's as if that matters to us. take the whole building
Yeah.
out with it, which is something I've been saying the whole time. You know, my position on foreign policy is very simple for people who haven't actually heard it before. It's that if you shoot even a single AK-47 round and it hits one of our things, blow the whole thing up. Send 2 Tomahawks, nothing left, decimate the whole village. I don't care. I mean, that's my essential position. I don't give a damn. Just blow them out of the water. Okay, we got someone new that came up on the stage though. What is up, Nerdy Bird 1776?
Hey, Walter, it's really great to see you back. I don't know where you've been, but I've missed you. So can you hear
I've
me?
been here the whole time. I can hear you, but yeah,
Okay,
we've been
well,
on 5 days this week.
I've got you on for notifications for everything, and I never get a notification. So,
Well, go to
there you go.
wcdispatch.com and you get emails when the show starts.
All right, I'll do that. So, I wanted to ask you, I'm really curious about how you feel about the latest with Nancy Macy trying to subpoena Ilhan Omar and basically Republicans going against it to where it failed or it was tabled. And then the other one is I'd like to hear what you have to say about Thune and the status of the Save Act. And both of these, I'm just speechless. I'm hoping that Thune has a strategy and that he's still for us. And I'm hoping that Trump has a plan for Ilhan Omar. I mean, he did say in his State of Union speech that they were working on it. So I have a lot of faith in Trump and the people closest to him. And I just want to hear your take on those things.
Well, I will say so
Thanks,
for the Ilhan Omar bit. The one thing that Ilhan Omar is great for us is that she is just absolute cannon fodder for us to throw out into the media. I mean, during the State of the Union address, he literally said, "And the Somali pirates from Minnesota," and the cameraman panned to Ilhan Omar. I mean, that is fantastic television, people. I mean, and this woman, she's got her. I just want a bottle of wine from her winery. That's all I'm asking for. I don't need her to be arrested. I just want a bottle of wine. I can't find it. No one else can either.
Me too, Walter.
I mean,
Maybe
this.
if we were together, we can
Listen,
get a
maybe
bottle of
maybe we
wine.
can get a bottle. I mean, I heard it got a double gold award. So I mean, this woman is perfect cannon fodder. Whether or not they actually blocked a subpoena for her or whatever it is that Nancy Mace is talking about, I don't know. I'd have to look further in to see why exactly that would get blocked or why exactly they didn't want to move forward. Maybe it wasn't strong enough. Who knows? But in terms of what you asked about Thune. That's why we were talking about this earlier. We were talking about Cornyn and Thune and the entire administration and how this is going to work out right now because you got Paxton and Cornyn in this Senate race. I think that is where you're going to see this push for serious legislative agenda because Thune wants Cornyn in the Senate. He wants him in the Senate. He really wants him to stay in the Senate. Thune has spent an enormous amount of money on Cornyn's race, and Trump has spent almost no dollars on Paxton's race, and Paxton still almost beat him. So I think that you're going to see a deal made in that regard, and it'll probably be for the SAVE Act. And I think you might see Paxton move into the administration somewhere. So that's what I would watch when you're watching that. I think that is going to be the plan there. Whether or not Thune is on our side, I don't trust Thune at all. I think he is just as old GOP establishment gets. But that doesn't mean that
He was McConnell's pick.
Yeah, well, listen, it's not just that he's McConnell's pick. Everyone gives McConnell shit, but the reality is McConnell was a very, very effective legislator. He just doesn't like Trump. But at the end of the day, whether or not we can actually get something done, that's going to depend entirely on whether or not we can actually get something moved forward. And that's probably going to be this deal with Cornyn, because Thune really wants Cornyn to stay in the Senate. So I guess we'll get to see that. That's what I'm watching for that. I don't know what's happening with Omar in this subpoena, so I'll have to look further into that for you.
Thanks, Walter.
No problem.
And I think you misheard. It was double goat, not double gold.
Oh, maybe double goat award. Maybe that's why I can't find it. Maybe that's why I've been looking for this double gold award wine. It was double goat the whole time. That's brilliant. Okay, Sunlight, you got your hand up. You're back. What's up, buddy?
Bro, I love the tie. By the way, just saying.
Yeah. So Walt, just real quick about Cornyn. So when he first entered Texas politics, he was the Attorney General underneath George W. Bush as governor. He then moved into the Supreme Court in the state of Texas, and then when he ran for Phil Gramm was our conservative senator at the time, and we had a more moderate liberal type in the name of Kay Bailey Hutchison. And so when Phil was retiring, Cornyn sought his seat, and given his bona fides as Attorney General, as Supreme Court of the state of Texas, we figured that he would be the best person for the job. So in 2002, 24 years ago, Texas first sent him to the Senate, and it's been an epic failure ever since. So every time it comes up, I mean, everybody carps about it, and I'm talking about the big money people, the bundlers, the likes of Trammell Crow and Harlan Crow and all these individuals carps about it because when Kay Bailey Hutchison, the moderate, retired, Ted Cruz took her seat. So Ted Cruz proved to be a hell of a senator, conservative voice, and John Cornyn has proved to be just an epic disappointment. So we're at that crossroads again, man. I've watched this Texas politics for a long time. Worked on various political campaigns inside Dallas County and at the state level as well. I was on Kay Bailey Hutchison's campaign, in fact. So I've watched how it operates and everything else, and I'm telling you, man, the old establishment guard is frustrated with Cornyn just as much as the young bucks, and so Ken Paxton, will definitely, if this race is allowed to go down the way it should, by the end of May, Ken Paxton will be the nominee, and then he's going to destroy this, Robert Francis Beto O'Rourke light socialist that the Democrats
Timu
have put
Beto.
forward.
Timu
Yeah,
Beto, dude. Listen, I like Timu
and
Beto.
the
I
best
love
part
it.
of
Some of
this,
the other day was on my show, and they were saying that the person that's running the Tallarico's campaign, they are okay with the tweets that they found, and they want that debate. I'm like, what? Non-binary Jesus and trans rights and Black Lives Matter? You want that debate in
You mean
Texas? Like,
Maine?
what are you thinking? I mean, like, listen, I don't have time for it.
hey,
Non-binary,
but
really?
Walt, on a serious note, though, I'm going to have to ask everyone in the room for a moment of silence as we remember the Alamo. 190 years ago, 147 Texans withstood a barrage of 6,000 Mexicans and stood their ground, and none of them crossed the line, and they gave their lives, and it led to the rallying cry of "Remember the Alamo" and "Remember Goliad," and Sam Houston, using superior military strategy, cornered Henry, the Napoleon of the West, he called himself, General Santa Anna, and the
There's
marshlands advanced
Sunlight.
himself.
There's a myth within my family that we are related to Sam Houston. That might be interesting for you to know. So that's actually
You kind of look like him.
I don't know about all that, but I just find it. I love it. A number of years ago, I was in San Antonio, and we were talking about. I think it was at my older brother's bachelor party, and we were saying, well, how long are you supposed to remember the Alamo for? So I mean, that was very funny. So I love it that the Texan in the room came up to remind us we have to remember the Alamo. I love it. Okay.
Well, and if you get the chance, if you haven't watched it, man, I know you're not a big movie buff, Walt, but watch the Billy Bob Thornton version of the Alamo where he plays Davy Crockett.
Yeah, I've seen it before,
I mean,
dude.
it's
I
just
watched that growing up with
fantastic.
my dad. Of course I did. I mean, I've watched that movie 100 times. I know that movie. Anyway, guys.
Well,
So
I'm older. I'm a
We'll
little
never
bit older, so
surrender, and
we
liberty
have the
will be
John
ours.
Wayne version, prior to that, when I was a kid. So anyway, Billy Bob Thornton did a great job. It's a great
Oh
movie. You
yeah.
guys got to watch it. Thanks.
Remember
Yeah, I
the
gotta
Alamo. I
love
love
you
it.
some
Well,
Billy Bob Thornton.
speaking of long-term efforts here, by the way, this is actually episode 181 of this show, which I forgot to mention yesterday, or the last show we did, which was yesterday. We had an audio show on X yesterday, but I did want to mention that because this week will actually be a full year of doing the political theater. So everybody who's been around here from the beginning, I appreciate the people to come to this show, and this has actually been almost a full year of doing it every single, every weekday that we can. So pretty exciting for the fact that we've reached 180. So we did season 2 when we added the video version over the summer, and we've done 180 episodes since then. So it's been a hell of a time. So I'm happy that we've actually managed to continue this on, and this is going to continue to grow. The show's going to get bigger. There's a number of other things that are
Happy
about to happen.
anniversary.
Thank you so much. There's going to be a lot more that's happening over the next year or so, though, guys. So this year, the show is going to probably get into another level of production because I'll actually be bringing on some additional things to add to the show. But that's going to be working out. So I appreciate everyone who comes to the show. And it's been 181 episodes. It's kind of crazy because this show did not start out as something that we thought was going to be an actual show. It was just a space. And then it turned into a real show, and it's actually grown quite a bit. And all of the people that come to the show, there's a lot of people I see in the audience right now. I see all of the people that still have been here. A lot of you have been here since the very first episode. So I appreciate everyone who comes to this show. We're going to cut off for the evening this evening, guys. I appreciate everyone who comes here. And next, make sure you guys go check out WCDispatch.com. As I said before, the Medicaid map, there's going to be a bunch of additions to that. I'm going to be adding 100,000 more locations to it here in the near future. The field guide system is operating properly. If you guys are interested in buying one, you can buy one of those for they're only $25 is what I'm charging for them. All it is just trying to help people. So if you guys want them, they're on the website now. You can buy them there. And guys, we will be back on Monday night for more of the political theater. Appreciate everyone who comes to the show, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks, guys.
Some folks are born with a liberty spark. Their hearts beat red, white, and blue. When the anchors sneer and the cameras bark, they turn the lens right back at you. Truth bound, ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're not the party line sons, no, it ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're the vigilant ones, so. Some folks inherit silk-lined halls, spend our sweat while preaching share. But when the tax man wraps his knuckles raw, their mansions suddenly look bare, impaired. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're not their banker-raised hairs, no. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're the vigilant ones, so. Yeah, some paint stars on press room lies and send the common men to toil. Ask them, how much truth will you trade tonight? They mutter, more noise, more noise, more noise. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. Not the theater's pawns, friend. It ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're America's steadfast one. No, we won't be spun.